How are you? Good morning. Thank you for asking. My name is Justin Kreitzer with Snowbasin Consulting, and we've been tasked with some consulting work for OC Tanner regarding their China sourcing team. Some of my previous consulting experience includes General Motors and Michigan State University.
I'm Seth Howells, and I have previously consulted with Plain & Fancy Custom Cabinetry, also a made-to-order company.
My name is Ben Maneke, and I have previous consulting experience with Michigan State University as well as Deloitte Consulting.
My name is Robert Tierney. I have previous experience consulting with General Motors as well as working with PepsiCo. And actually, while I was at PepsiCo, I received the USB drive they're using for a presentation as a reward that was made by OC Tanner.
Our consulting firm was faced with three challenges. The first being, what course of action should Dave and the China Task Force pursue? The next, how should the task force define and design their sourcing strategy? And what are the implications of our recommendations for growth for the four private labels? And finally, how are we going to define the zone of opportunity?
An issue here is called the iceberg effect, and most firms tend to look at the top of the iceberg, which is the purchase price per unit. However, we need to be aware of the hidden costs, and a quote from Sigmund Freud from our global supply chain management, sourcing and supply management book says the mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. So 7/8 are underneath, and some of those hidden costs include insurance, import, duties, and taxes.
And going off of what Justin said, it's important not to overlook the effect of the iceberg effect, because the purchasing price often grabs the center of attention. And it's important that you notice that I said price as opposed to cost. In the iceberg analogy, price is just the tip of the iceberg. Cost, on the other hand, is all the hidden costs, much like the iceberg, the massive amount of ice hidden beneath the visible surface. This idea corresponds to managing long-distance relationships with suppliers. Our consulting firm has identified two primary components towards the hidden costs, and that is product costs and relationship costs. Product costs includes extra inventory, scrap, rework, and repair, warranty, and recalls. All of these are highly prevalent when you are sourcing in China with Chinese suppliers. Relationship costs, on the other hand, includes day-to-day forecasting, commercial liability issues, SNOP and CPFR, cash-to-cash cycle, currency risk, and added administrative costs.
What we have next is our course of action strategy. First, we have our goal, which is to embark on a collaborative effort in order to successfully source the four main private labels of OC Tanner. Secondly is our objective. Our objective is to identify the possible risks and qualitatively estimate their relevance. Lastly is our action, which was to prepare categorical scorecards for each private label. This is the first categorical scorecard that we have for MBUE. We broke it down into four main risk factors, identified them by weight, and measured them on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, based off of how OC Tanner is able to mitigate this risk. We got our final score by taking what they got out of the 1 through 5. So to get number 1, it would have been 5 divided by 5 times 40%, which gave us 40. We added up and we get our total score. We broke MBUE down by 4 risks, the first one being proper sourcing. This one we broke down to have the highest weight due to the fact that in the case study, we saw how OC Tanner was sourcing from Galleria, and they had an 8% breakage rate. They identified an opportunity. What they did was they went to Galleria's supplier and they bought from them, which greatly reduces breakage cost. And here with the factors, we try to see a cause and effect. And the reason they're weighed that way is because for proper sourcing, we're able to eliminate breakage. In refrigerable warehousing, we have to do that due to breakage, which is when OC Tanner goes in, breaks down their inventory, and ships the unit to their customer from wherever they broke. And we have the expedited shipping costs as well. And we also have our measures, which got 5, 2, 3, and 4. And those also correspond to how well, like I said, OC Tanner mitigates these risks.
The next scorecard is for the L'Oreal private label. and we gave product obsolescence a 2, forecasting a 3, carrying cost a 3, and longevity a 5. A key aspect that we need to harp on when managing the sourcing for this label is product obsolescence. Previously, OC Tanner explained to us that at one point they were stuck with 5,000 units of USB drives sitting in inventory. This means that the sourcing team and the marketing team need not have a silos mentality when creating a forecast. They need to come together to agree on a single forecast.
Moving to the TOPI private label, our 4 factors were warranty cost, safety issues, recalls due to safety, and carrying cost. We rated warranty cost of 4 out of 5, safety issues 4 out of 5 as well, recalls due to safety 2 out of 5, and carrying cost 3 out of 5 for a total score of 7.
One thing I want to point out about the items under this category, the reason we have these factors such as safety issues is because these categories, you have a raft, you have a cooler, a backpack, and a tent. So these pertain to lifestyles and daily activities. So people are trusting these goods and these rewards that OC Tanner is handing out to them, and they're actually engaging in physical activities using them. If you're out camping in the woods, you don't want a tent to go bad. If you're on a raft in a river, you don't want that raft to get punctured by simply hitting a small stick in the river. So safety issues with these categories we put as the highest weight because we do believe that that's very important for this specific category.
And lastly, Epoch was OC Tanner's first private label, and due to their epic margins, the previous 3 labels came afterwards. We looked at 4 factors: packaging quality, production quality, ethical and legal issues, as well as the inability to change and customize. We gave a 4 for packaging quality, and that is because although these luxury items are not as fragile as the MBUE dinnerware, they do represent the highest cost per SKU. Thus, breakage for these types of products will cause more of an impact on the bottom line. For production quality, we scored it as 3 because we see it as being very at par within the water industry. And with the ethical and legal issues, we scored that as a 5 because there's no evidence that OC Tanner sources from unethical practices within the sourcing of highly valued metals and minerals. And lastly, OC Tanner has proven time and time again that they're able to customize any of Epoch's products. So we gave it a 5, and the total score is 80, which is not a surprise considering this is their oldest private label. And here's an overview of our categorical analysis. We ranked the 4 private labels according to their ability to mitigate supply chain risk. And you can see at first was Epoch with 80, followed by the MBUE at 72, and Topi at 70, and lastly, Volio at 58.
What we have here is just a simple slide showing other supply chain risks, your general supply chain risks, including natural disaster, geopolitical issues, port closures, and so forth. The reason I want to bring this slide up is because our choice is to source all 4 products from China. But while we're sourcing these products from China, we do really want to keep in mind the possibility of the Trump administration imposing a 45% tax rate on every unit being shipped into the United States from China. So what I did here was I wrote down the cost per unit. You can see here the 2 Chinese suppliers, Acrylic Pro and Global Acrylic. The first one being $8.43 per unit, the second one being $7.41 per unit, and then the 2 U.S. suppliers, Time to Shine and 100 Miler. Time to Shine being $21.49 and 100 Miler being $15.87. We took the 45% tax rate, and we figured out that for Acrylic Pro, it would add an additional $3.79 per unit, totaling $12.23 per unit. And for Global Acrylic, it would add $3.33 per unit, totaling $10.75 per unit if that tax rate was imposed. One thing you want to keep in mind is even though with the Chinese suppliers, with the 45% tax rate, it's still a lot cheaper than the U.S. suppliers. But at what point is OC Tanner going to take into perspective the fact that if we switch over to the US, we would greatly reduce shipping costs from China that would go into that margin, and there would also most likely be a large increase in the production from the US suppliers. So that's one thing that I keep in mind is at what point would they really pay a premium on the price per unit and make up for it in the safe shipping costs and the quality of production.
Moving to the implications of the design of the China sourcing team, the first thing that OC Tanner needs to be aware about are its tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers from their primary supplier. This is for primarily 2 reasons. One, in the event of a natural disaster affecting their primary supplier from getting their parts from their suppliers, as well as it's going to be a bad image if the tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers are engaging in unsafe labor conditions as well as cheap wages or anything like that. We also talked about the exchange rate in which President Trump is considering China as a currency manipulator, which may see a rise in the value of the currency. And intellectual property is a very big one here with the fact that it's very tough to protect the IP rights in China, and some things might leak out. We also talked about recalls concerning having it on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. We chatted about how there have been numerous recalls from China, and we are concerned about product safety as the warranty, OC Tanner prides itself in their warranties. And lastly, in sales and operation planning and forecasting, we were chatting with OC Tanner. They provided us with the information that it took 6 months to collect the data and some of the estimated hidden costs, and that is a very long time. And since the supply chain is longer from sourcing from China, that is going to have an impact on our forecasting. But however, on the positive side, the implications is high profit margins and having satisfied employees and customers, which is at the heart of their vision and mission. And the long-term relationships with suppliers, including their trust. And as we talked about, if individuals grow, the business grows. A metric we used in our supplier evaluation was the 10 C's of supplier evaluation, and I'm going to touch on the first 3 of competency, capacity, and commitment. And the biggest one here from I3 is commitment. We talked about the long-term relationships and the trust. It'd be a significant investment for using a China supplier, and we want to make sure that we're in for the long run.
I'll be talking about control and cash. For control, that refers to how well the supplier can manage their processes and procedures. And cash refers to the supplier's financial health. Obviously, we want to source from suppliers that are financially capable of meeting the requirements.
I'll be focusing on cost, consistency, and culture. First off, cost. How well is our supplier going to be able to work with OC Tanner in order to minimize the cost while still maintaining the quality that we need on a day-to-day basis? Next is consistency. How effectively and efficiently is our supplier going to be able to work with us on day-to-day operations and decisions? And lastly is culture. After touring OC Tanner's facilities, it's very clear that they have a very, very strong corporate culture, and that's something that they take very high regard to. And through this case, it's become very apparent that with such a long supply chain coming all the way from China, it's very hard to integrate that corporate culture all the way through that supply chain. So that's one thing I really think OC Tanner should focus on when sourcing from China, is how can they streamline that corporate culture all the way through their supplier in order to build great long-term relationships.
Next is clean. Is our supplier making an initiative to be environmentally sustainable? And are they adhering to environmental laws and best practices? And we also have communication. How well is our supplier reaching out to us and keeping in touch? And how are we going to overcome the language barrier and also deal with the time zone differences for business hours?
We also felt the HR systems that were used, the Salesforce, the SAP, and Oracle would help ease the communication. But while all these are very important, we must also take a holistic view to ensure the connectivity of those parts, as well as the functional departments of the supplier that are responsible for each individual part. We need to ensure that they don't have a silos error as with the USB flash drives.
In regards to growth for the MBUE private label, we found a few areas of interest to explore. The first being flatware. According to Ibis World, cutlery and kitchen utensil manufacturing in China has been increasing at a rate of 12.4%. The next is glassware. We believe that OC Tanner can implement a strategy similar to that of dinnerware, with drop shipping, direct buying from the supplier, as well as overpacking, emphasizing on overpacking because due to the fragileness of the products. And the last is cookware. And Ibis World also stated that of the cutlery and kitchen utensil manufacturing revenue, 52.2% is cookware. And we believe that OC Tanner can implement these products easily through product bundling, since each of these products are similar in how and when they are used.
Next is Folio, which is the electronic category. The first area for growth we see is in Bluetooth headphones. We saw with the recent launch of the iPhone 7 and their headphone adapter that they're pushing their customers to invest in their wireless headphones. And we believe that across the electronic industry, we're going to see pushes from other companies in that same area. So we think that if OC Tanner can find a way to invest in wireless headphones, that'd be a great reward that could really grow this electronic category. Now, the biggest area for growth in this category is the wearable technology. It's estimated that by 2020, this will be worth $34 billion. And I see one of the biggest areas for growth in this category as the Fitbits and the smartwatches. One of our biggest ideas was to work with healthcare providers by what they could do is reward their customers with discounted Fitbits. And we've seen health insurance companies do the same thing now. They're rewarding their customers with a 50% discount on Fitbits. So we thought that that's something that OC Tanner could invest in by providing those rewards to health insurance companies, and they could then reward their customers with a discount price on those products. And then we also have long-term considerations, which were the home and car charging solutions. When consulting with General Motors, it's becoming very clear that the automotive industry is pushing towards electric vehicles, and we do believe that in the next few years that electric vehicles will have a very high market share in the automotive industry. So by investing in solutions like home and car charging stations, not only would families be able to put these outside their homes, when they have friends and family over, if they have electric vehicles too, they'll have access to it, whether there's not just one port at their house.
Regarding the room for growth for the TOPI private label, while they already produce backpacks, camping gear, and the like, we felt that they need to make a further push in this to keep up with industry leaders such as Patagonia, North Face, and REI. Some of the products we considered would be perhaps pocket knives and kind of fishing equipment for these outdoor lifestyle enthusiasts.
And like I said before, Epoch has always delivered epic margins. However, times are changing, and a lot of people are going towards smartwatches. And just as Robert said earlier, with wearable technology, people are becoming more conscious and more concerned about their health. So we actually believe that in the next few years that that traditional style watches will become obsolete, and thus we believe that there should be a merge of markets with the Folio and with Epoch, because with the Folio you get the tech side, and with the Epoch you get the stylish, the stylistic fashion of the watches. In sum, we were able to define our zone of opportunity as how well we were able to A, identify the unit cost with the supplier of our choice.
B, how well we were able to mitigate the risks associated with each private label category, such as product obsolescence.
C, holistically view the subcomponents of the tech C's of supplier evaluation.
And finally, D, emphasize on the areas for growth in each of the private label categories, as we just harped on above.
When you choose Snowbasin Consulting, you will know that you are getting the highest level of expertise in sourcing overseas, leading to less oh no's to more wow.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I've got a question. Good presentation. So when you identify costs from overseas, in this case China, did you guys consider going back to your domestic suppliers and asking them if they can do better on the pricing?
We did think about going back to domestic suppliers, but right now the current market in the U.S. and looking at the margins we can get from Chinese suppliers. It's not something that we thought about looking into fully right now. That's why we did bring up at what point with raised taxes on import goods from China for the Trump administration, what he's talking about doing. That's what we talked about. At what point in paying a premium on U.S. goods is OCTNR willing to convert over to the U.S. and start investing in higher, well, getting more quality for the products, but paying a higher premium while also saving transportation costs as well.
Just to harp on that real quick, and something we need to look at moving forward is if manufacturing more and more keeps coming back to the U.S., how is that going to affect the pricing? Right?
Okay, thank you.
Can you go back to the MU slide where you weighted, gave weightings for specific areas?
Yeah. Choose the order of the arrows in the
It's close to the start. Just had a question as to how you weighted. There you go. So breakage, you weighted 30%. You measured it as a 2. How did you come up with that?
Now, the reason I put that as a measure for 2, what we agreed on is, while the weight is 30%, breakage is something that is really out of control by OCTNR. While the goods are in transit from their supplier, if they break, that's not something OCTNR can control, at least to the extent of how the driver is, how they pack it at the retailing facility. Now, we did see at your facility you have the overpackaging station, so to some extent at your facility you do go beyond and above to make sure when it's being shipped from you to your customers that it is packed properly. But we did give it 2 because we saw before they went with Galleria's supplier, they had an 8% breakage rate, and that's why we put those things in consideration and gave it a weight of 2, because it's something that can definitely be improved on and always be optimized.
Oh, okay. So are you weighting the MU brand, or are you weighting the Galleria brand?
No, we're weighting the MBUE brand.
Okay.
But what we compared to was when you were sourcing from Galleria, there was an 8% breakage rate on the products coming from them, which resulted in the more breakable warehousing, which is a huge inconvenience to you, as well as more expedited shipping costs due to the fact that you want to get those products to your customers as quick as possible when they receive a broken good.
Okay. Just to add to that real quick, the proper sourcing is the 40%, because if we can mitigate our risk through proper sourcing, we should, in theory, have lower levels of breakage, the warehousing, and the expedited shipping.
So you're recommending to stay with China? What is your overall recommendation? That was my question too.
Well, our overall recommendation is to stay at China at this point in time, just because we see the increased margins of total cost savings with all of our purchasing, with the data that we received from the 2016 purchasing for each of the labels. And it's just, at this point in time, the prices for doing it in the U.S. or anywhere else just don't add up in order to get that cost savings that we need to do.
In regard to what he says, we did look into other places, and we did consider possibly looking into a China +1 strategy, but researching it at this point in time right now, going to other countries is going to involve high research and development costs. These countries, while there is a lot of foreign investment going to these countries right now, at this point in time, we didn't think there was enough to actually get fully involved in a supply chain operation in those countries, just due to the fact that they aren't fully developed yet. And if they are, they're still going to be below where China's at. So that is why we decided to go and supply all 4 products from China and heavily look into and weigh out our options, what can be done in the U.S. in the coming years under the Trump administration, because as the case brought up, he is going to impose those high taxes. And like Justin said, if manufacturing is going to be growing in the U.S., that can definitely help OCTNR out by having lower manufacturing costs and, like I've said numerous times, getting higher quality products.
In addition to that, I just want to add one more thing. We also believe that it's better to improve on existing relationships than to create a whole new one where you may have to go through the learning curves to get back on par to where you just left.
That was leads right into my question. If you look at the relationship costs and the production cost, you have that comparison. I believe that the organizational chart that was made up, the relationship costs sticking with the current product just because you already knew the knowns? Does that have an impact on your solution?
Definitely. As the case mentioned, we didn't put it into that chart, but the highest hidden cost is OC Tanner's having an employee gather the data on those hidden costs. As it said in the case, it took 6 weeks for an employee to gather all those hidden costs. So by working with suppliers that OC Tanner already has relationships with, they're able to reveal those costs quicker because they have a relationship built already. If we're going to do a China plus one strategy or source from a different country, we don't know what the relationship is going to be like. We don't know how much investment it's going to take to integrate our supply chain with theirs. We have, like he said, the learning curve too. So there's a lot of variables in the air with going to another country and a lot of hidden costs that we were very unsure of, and that is why we couldn't make a definite decision to go to a different country at this point in time.
And with a new country or even new facility in China, OC Tanner would have to send some employees over there to inspect the operations as we do with General Motors, and perhaps looking at the unit price and seeing if they're telling them it can take X amount of seconds to make a product, and they go over there and see that they could actually improve their production, that might actually have a cost savings. So initially, by having the current relationships, it would be less employee travel time, and as that was a big factor on it also jet lag returning.
And the ultimate goal of this is to build trust. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of having a supplier, a good supplier relationship is trust, so that if there's changes in demand, that they're able to adapt with us, that they're innovating for also our benefit and for their benefit also.
So did you do any analysis to come up with any kind of a break-even point? Here's how much lower costs would need to be from China versus a domestic supplier before we'll explore continued China sourcing, direct sourcing?
So we didn't go that far into that analysis. We did look at the Excel spreadsheet, but with the data we were given, we really took the perspective more of the qualitative factors. From the quantitative data on the Excel spreadsheet, I don't have it here. We had the transportation costs for shipping on boat. We had the transportation costs for shipping by air, but we didn't have as much of the margins and how much the total cost would be as a whole to figure out, how much it would cost from a different country compared to China. And that's why I talked about it earlier with the U.S. and the China when I broke down the prices for 25,000 units from the U.S. suppliers and from the Chinese suppliers. And that's why I brought up what point would OC Tanner consider it equivalent to source from the U.S. or China, or at what point would the U.S. become a better solution than sourcing from China, and how long will China remain as our choice, the best place to source from.
Did you say you had a chart for that?
That was the one. Yes, it was. It was this chart here. I just broke down the import taxes on it and talked about at what point in time their OC Tanner would consider the U.S. a better option.
About 1 more minute of questions. Good? Okay.
Do you have any questions?
We will read that
Good after.
after the.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you.